Next up, we're going to talk about Foreplay's support for the MAME DAT files. Now, these are two files that have been in use for a very long time. That's history.xml and mameinfo.dat. Both of them provide information about each individual game or machine inside of MAME. And MAME itself supports them, and so does Foreplay. So if we go in here and take a look, let's go to Donkey Kong, and we're utilizing overlays to show this. So you're going to hit the tilde key on the keyboard, which is the key above the tab key on a US keyboard at least. So let's go ahead and do that. And there is the history XML entry. You can scroll through it as you want in this format. You can also hit the left arrow and expand it to two stops, this and then full screen width, and you can read it like that. So let's go back one, and if you hit the tab key on the keyboard, you'll go to the mameinfo.dat view. So there it is, and this is MASH's running commentary on when things are updated on any of the drivers. And so this goes all the way back to version 3, as you can see. Let's scroll all the way down there. You can see when it was added. Yeah, back here, along with some nice historical information. So support for those two guys is very helpful and rounds things out in terms of information. So the other overlays that are available in here would be your logging. If you hit F2 at this point, it shows a full height log of what you've done so far in Foreplay with each of the modules called out in different colors. And it defaults to debug. It's not very heavy on the resources, but you can toggle the verbosity off in the config screen if you want to. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But this contains information about the launch and what kind of assets it finds, and the performance dashboard here for the different parts of the app that load up. And then you also get a summary of your computer here, so you can answer questions about why things aren't working or whatever. So let's go ahead and escape out of that. And if you hit F3, you will get the Foreplay config text file. And this is a file that lives alongside of the exe after it's been run the first time. And this was what I was mentioning in another video, that you can actually go in and edit all of these external to the UI. So yeah, there's all of that good stuff. We'll escape out of that. Another place the overlays show up is the feature called Audit Favorites on Launch. And so this is kind of an edge feature where it will monitor your favorites to see if the underlying machine name changes over time. And so let's say, for example, of your 400 some odd favorites, Donkey Kong, one day MameDev decides to rename it from DKong to DKong 1, and you bring down that exe, link it to Foreplay, and update. And then you don't have Donkey Kong anymore because Foreplay was thinking that it should be named this. Well, that audit will catch that problem and surface it in a nice little overlay that says, hey, I don't recognize DKong. What was it supposed to be? Go ahead and change it for me if you would. So that's a nice touch. And let's see what other options do we have in the overlays besides those guys. The benchmark itself, when it is run, it will go, at least on my machine, for about 11 minutes, and inside the overlay that's here, it will show the timing results. And the same thing happens with the build verification test that I built into the app, which is accessible with F10. That will kick off a 90-second series of main things that you can do in the UI, including some of the filtering and the navigation and mode changes for the icons and art type. So that should cover most of the overlays. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head is also when you double click a game that you may not have all of the ROMs for, that complains in MAME, and we capture that information and display it here also, so that you don't just fail silently if you try to double click Don Pachi, for example, and you're missing one of the ROMs. Okay, that's it for this feature. We'll talk soon. Bye.